people just can't enjoy things. I don't know why you can't just enjoy things. I mean, if she's attacking a man on a website in the show and you take it personal, that's on you. That's not really. I mean, she's not talking about me, so
Yeah.
I'm not. My feelings aren't hurt. But a lot of freaking fun. I mean, Tatiana is just a damn delight.
She just like the epitome of, these influencers who become famous and they think they're important, but really, who gives a shit? But so many people do. Like that's a job these days, is to get YouTube famous.
Wow.
Yeah, and it turns sometimes into a multi-million-dollar corporation and shit like that. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the fact that she purposely crashed the wedding just to take a swing at She-Hulk, like, how is that a good idea?
Right.
This is not, some like ground level superhero. This is a Hulk. That I don't. It's just, I think they kind of used her a little bit as a villain just to kind of have fun with it. Mm-hmm. I don't think she's ever been a real threat. They're just using it kind of for comedic value, which it is.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, there was a little angsty. I mean, I felt for Jen and her uncomfortableness and the way she was set up in that wedding to, hey, would you clean up a little bit around here? And I'm just like, this chick's a superhero, man. But anyways, a lot of fun. Is super clever dialogue, man. Is written, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's written very well.
Oh, yeah. I think it's very clever. And I like clever more than smart sometimes,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it just, and I think this wedding was actually a very interesting thing they did, because she was going back and seeing all her old friends who remembered old Jen. And that's why they were like, can you iron the shirts? Can you clean up around here? Because they knew she would have done that in the past. And she's now become literally a different person, but her perceptions and her mind is changing a little bit. She's growing as a person.
Right.
She's taking control of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that's kind of overlooked a little bit in the show, mm-hmm. is how she is becoming a different Jennifer. And I think that's important.
That's a good point.
It's character growth. Mm-hmm. We talk all the time about how Marvel does wonders with mental health and stuff like that. It's usually, people with mental disorders. But in this case, it's someone just growing in their own life and coming into their own. And I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, she showed up at that wedding as She-Hulk, rocking that dress, by the way. Holy fuck. And then the bride demanded
for big green women.
Yes, I do. Whatever. Give me an orc. I don't care. But then the bride demanded she, un-She-Hulk. And she was so disappointed because it was the one time she actually wanted to be She-Hulk. And I think she's starting to accept that's who she mm-hmm. is now.
Yeah, I dig it. That's very good.
Yeah, and that's just a backseat psychiatry bullshit. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. But anyway, I don't really have anything bad to say about the show. I mean, I'm not insulted by it. It doesn't hurt my feelings. So I think it's a good show.
Yeah.
I think it's all grown on me. So any other closing thoughts on that other than just watch the show with an open damn mind?
Well, the end of it, we got kind of a hint at maybe the more serious villain in this show.
Uh-huh.
We saw the scientist lab where they're putting together a hypodermic needle that would supposedly pull blood from Jennifer Walters when she was in She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a scientific group. We don't definitively know who they are, but there's lots of speculation about what they could be. They could be the intelligentsia. They could be AIM. But the biggest thing is everyone thinks that this blood could lead to the creation of a Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross.
Right.
They think that's where this is going. And
which is weird. I mean, we assume that it's Marvel's been known to shake things up a little bit. So obviously William Hurt has passed on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to get General Ross as the Red Hulk, obviously. So somebody else could obviously be the Red Hulk. But Intelligentsia, one of that in the comic books, Intelligentsia, which they turned it into a social media, like a server or something.
Yeah,
in the comics, that led to the Abomination, the Red Hulk, A-Bomb, which was actually Rick Jones, turned into a Blue Abomination type character. Anyways, that's kind of big for the comics, but they've turned it into something here. It feels a little, they discounted a little bit. You know what I mean? Made it a little cheaper, being a social media website, that sort of thing. But Intelligentsia is a bigger deal in the comic books than it is here in the show. But that's okay. I think it's kind of leading us somewhere.
Yeah. And we've also seen the mid-season trailer The Abomination is coming back. We saw that in the trailer. So apparently something happens where he breaks his parole, tears off his inhibitor, and comes back as the Abomination.
And we know Daredevil's supposed to show up as well. Right now, all we got was the tease in the costume shop, but so we know there's more. There's a lot more story to tell. We got 1 or 2 episodes left.
I thought we had more than that. I thought they were doing like 12 or something.
I'm not sure. I wish I knew, but
so when we meet Justin, he always had bullets facts out of his ass. But yeah, we're kind of, I think we're getting towards the end. I think maybe 8, maybe 9. I don't know, but it's been more than the hour-long shows because they've been 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, so short.
Yeah,
it feels so damn short.
Well, I think it's kind of like sitcom almost a little bit the way they do it. I think they were going for that feeling. So I'd watch her as She-Hulk any day of the week. Not saying I lay in bed at night and watch that. Well, moving on to Andor. All right, everybody.
Anybody watching Andor? I know I've seen a lot of chatter online about Andor being super boring. It's so boring. It's so boring. And I think there's some merit to it because it starts slow. But if you ride it to the 3rd episode, I think you get a payoff. You agree with that?
I do. It was, honestly, I think they took too long for that payoff. Yeah. But I get the narrative they were establishing, and I see what they were doing with the story.
Right.
Because we're seeing Cassian Andor's backstory. We know where he ends up. And so we don't know anything about this character. He could be anything or anyone, but apparently he was kind of a scoundrel in his younger days, and that just leads to who he is. But yeah, the first couple episodes are slow. But, we still have those, we're in the Empire right now. Like, everybody's kind of just down their luck at all given times. This is not happy fun time Coruscant or shit like that. It's people scraping by.
I like seeing the seeds of rebellion, these little seeds of rebellion, like the legend of the rebellion growing. I think that's what's going to be great about this, is seeing this particular angst and resentment and all that growing amongst the people that becomes this ultimate rebel scum.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch just people who've been knocked down so often and finally they've had enough. And I'm not gonna do any spoilers, but there's a really good monologue in the 3rd episode about that, about how long people will take it until they don't anymore. And I loved that scene in the 3rd episode where the entire town was banging on the pipes, telling people when the core cops were coming. And that quote, "You need to be more afraid when this noises stop."
Yeah.
And that was just, Glenn Close fucking kills it. She always does, but God.
That wasn't Glenn Close.
Was it not?
It was not. But it's okay.
Who was it?
It's the actress that plays Mrs. Dursley from Harry Potter. It's not Glenn Close.
Damn, they look alike. She kills it. Go, Miss Dursley.
Miss Dursley's doing a great job.
Yeah. Looks like Glenn Close.
She kind of does.
I was like, how'd they get Glenn Close? Whatever.
No, she's been in a lot of shit, but she ain't her. Andor is
confidently incorrect.
But it's a slow burn, but it does ignite by the 3rd episode, I think. And I'm in. I'm totally in. I do feel like I choked down the first couple.
Yeah.
And it was a little slow, but that 3rd one, it really built for me. So I'm down for the next.
I'm curious to see the future adventures of Cassian Andor and how he becomes basically like a spy master within the rebellion,
Yeah.
And I will say, I do have a problem with prequels, just as a rule, because we know where the story ends. That's always been my problem with prequels.
Right.
And I do have a little bit of a problem with this one because of that. But I'm so enamored of watching the development and the evolution of this character that I can get over it. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I'm holding off. I want to watch Rogue One again now, but I'm waiting. I'm going to wait this show out, then I'm going to watch it.
I was thinking today, I was like, I should have watched Rogue One before I started this series.
No, I'm going to watch it after. It's going to make it so much
the
better,
sequel to Andor.
Hell yeah. So anyway, watch it. Give it a chance. Get to the 3rd episode.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts?
I mean, just a well-acted show. I'm curious to see where they go from here, expanding the universe of it.
Yeah. Let's move on if you don't mind.
No.
A couple of things right away. I want to share a thought. I am so excited that at any moment you can turn on your streaming service and you can revisit Westeros and Middle Earth right now with new content.
Yeah.
That is so, we live in such a renaissance of nerddom, y'all. This is so great. especially the Middle Earth thing. But we'll get to that after. We're going to talk about Game of Thrones first. The House of Dragons. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. The final season of Game of Thrones left such like a bad taste in my mouth. I went into this with some hesitance, but watching these early seasons, this early episode, we know there's going to be seasons. It's how I felt about the original, seasons of Game of Thrones. I was so excited. I didn't know what was happening because I had never read the books, so I don't have any clue. Like, it's one fantasy series I have never read, so it's all coming new to me, and I don't want to read it. Actually, that would keep me from watching the show as excited. Mm-hmm. And it's just great.
The books are good. They're good, but they're as good as the show. And since the show surpassed the books officially, all the things that everyone hated about the last season of Game of Thrones doesn't exist in printed form right now. So, so I almost recommend not bothering with the books.
Well, House of the Dragons is based on stuff that's already been written, so it's not going to, diverge from the books and things.
We just know what happens based on what their mentions are in the Game of Thrones. Yeah. We know about these characters, and we know how they die if you've read the books or pay attention to the show. They've been mentioned over the seasons, so a lot of cool stuff to come. Obvious spoiler alert.
Oh yeah,
you're caught up, right?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
Okay, I'm just going to jump ahead to the ending and the preview for the next episode. They obviously jump ahead in time.
They do 10 years, I believe, is what they said.
So, and all the characters have aged. They've actually got new actresses and new actors, and the king looks older, and it's just that's a drastic step. That's a bold ass step.
Yeah, 5 episodes in, and you do a 10-year time jump. That,
right.
Like when I read that, I was like, shit, they better step up and swing.
Right.
And I agree. So that comes out tonight. We'll see if it pays off. But from what I've seen and what I've been reading about what they're going ahead with the story, because you say there aren't books about this. There actually are. They're like pseudo-historical books that Martin wrote about this time in history that were just pretty general about the ideas of what was happening and what was going on. And that's what they're using kind of as their template and then delving deeper into it.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I've been honestly been on the Game of Thrones side of TikTok, watching a lot of people who know way better than me explain about these characters and what they did and why they did it and things like that. And it's been really nice to get more details of it, not just, cut and dry, this scene happened. They're like, this is why it happened. This is what they were thinking and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I've really enjoyed that, somebody telling me, because I don't know. I've never read the books, like that.
Right. So anyway, it's worth your time. Watch it. Watch it now. Catch up now.
It's good. It's just, it kind of makes up for Game of Thrones last season so far.
Yeah. Which I don't think I hated as much as most people did. I would like to go back and rewatch it.
I didn't, but I really...
It was most of that season finale that it bothered me so much.
That was the one that killed me. I love that, the battle in the north with the Night King and everything.
Oh, gosh, there's some episodes in that last season, like when the dragons are attacking the ships.
Oh yeah,
and they were just beautiful, well shot, just awesome and perfect.
Yeah,
it's just that beginning. So anyway, move on from Game of Thrones. Worth your time, watch it. Josh is not watching this, but I am all over the Rings of Power right now. I'm so happy to be back in Middle Earth. It feels like Middle Earth. Loving it. I'm freaking loving it. If you're not watching it, watch it. Lord of the Rings. One thing I've said this for 20 years when the movies came out. These movies are better than the books. And I know that's hard to swallow, but it's truth, and I will fight you on it because I've read the damn books, and they're long and drawn out and unnecessary. And these shows and movies, they take the what's it called? When you shorten it and make it better, and the Cliff Notes. This is the Cliff Notes version of Lord of the Rings, and we're doing the Silmarillion right now. Is that essentially what it is?
I think so. I'm not 100% certain exactly where we are.
It is, and that kind of come full circle in this last episode. But this ties directly into the Fellowship of the Ring, Isildur, his father. It's just so good. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Yeah. So anyway, Rings of Power, Game of Thrones. Good God.
House of the Dragon.
Yes. watch this shit.
Yeah.
It's exciting, y'all.
And I will also say this, even though I have not watched much of Rings of Power, I've watched the first one, but I've kind of kept up a little bit. Not spoilers, but like what they're doing, they are changing things a little bit, and I know that, and so they're making their own kind of story at the same time, which I'm sure Stephen Colbert is just like in his basement writing a manifesto, like this is what you did wrong, yada yada yada. No, I love Stephen Colbert, but that dude knows everything about Lord of the Rings. It's ridiculous. If you've never seen him like go off on something, Google that. It's fun to watch. It's like
curious how did he feel about Peter Jackson's version of?
He was in one of the movies. I mean, that like he was a consultant for Peter Jackson, telling him like, "Oh, you can't do this or this because this is the timeline."
That's
like,
interesting.
It was ridiculous.
Right on. Well, enough said about that. Yeah. Let's move on, man. We didn't do a show last week, so we didn't really talk about D23.
No,
but there was a lot to cover in D23.
Yeah, a whole lot of stuff coming out.
If you want to start on that,
okay.
Check that.
We're still on and balanced on the camera.
Yes, sir. We're good.
All right. Let's just start off with the very first one that kind of stood out as a very different kind of Disney movie. It was Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, this one's been all over the place. First, it was supposed to be a comedy, a Halloween special, and now it's officially a horror film.
Yeah.
And if you watch the trailer, it's almost like I can't decide if they're serious or they're satiring.
I mean, it could be both. It's black and white. It feels like those 80s style B movies, you had.
It was like the freaking 70s style. They made like 30 Dracula movies.
Yeah, like Grindhouse kind of film, but with a really big budget. It looks like somebody bloody as hell. Like those movies are known for being, terribly shot and all that stuff. But this looks like it's satiring it, but doing it very well. So I don't know. And as we get closer, maybe we'll find out more. We might not. Wasn't Werewolf by Night one of the Midnight Suns for a while at some point?
I don't even know. He kind of came and went. He's that character.
Yeah.
One of those Marvel characters that kind of appeared and then went in continuity hell for 5 years and then reappeared here and there. So not super familiar with him. I know Moon Knight's first appearance was in a Werewolf by Night comic book, by the way. So I don't know if they're tied together or not. I just don't know.
Wasn't he J. Jonah Jameson's son at one point as well in the comics?
I don't even know that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night is, for us, a little bit of an obscure character.
He is a B-side character, but you know what? In my opinion, 20 years ago, Iron Man was as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And
a lot of people forget that.
Right. So, I mean, maybe a household name this time next year. Who knows? Rocket Raccoon was that way.
The Guardians were that way.
Yeah, they were totally a B team. So, and now they're household names. So, maybe Werewolf by Night will be a staple. And if
big Halloween costume 2023.
If they're building the Midnight Suns and they want him in, I mean, a werewolf fits right in.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway, cool trailer. Check it out. It's interesting. Look at it and
let us know what you think.
It.
It's a lot of fast cuts and they're hunting something. I don't know. It doesn't give us a lot of plot.
There's some cheesy black and white stuff there, but I feel like it's on purpose. So anyway, some fast takes here if you don't mind.
No,
stop me if you want to speak about them. We got more information about Ironheart. We've got some leaked images from some Marvel Legends action figures, and we've seen the Ironheart suit now.
Yeah.
And it's something different. It's something streamlined. It's very not Iron Man.
Yeah, it looks very good. I'll be interested like how they get to that in this progression, because
it's very weird looking.
I kind of want to go back and read the comics because I haven't read them since they came out. But I don't remember her additional armor being anything like that.
No, it wasn't. It was more streamlined and such. But you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of I look at it, and nobody else is going to feel this way. I probably shouldn't share this. But the Pokemon Mewtwo, the never mind. It just, she looks like an anime character. Like I
will say, for me, anime-wise, I saw it and I was like, Neon Genesis Evangelion. That's what it looked like to me immediately.
It's something different. And I don't know what they're going for creative-wise, but it is drastically different. Yeah. To me, it doesn't look like it fits in the Marvel Universe, but I don't know what the MCU is now. We don't know. We're all uncertain about it. So maybe it does. But it looks very anime-esque
You know, those sweet teens love the anime and they're kids spending their money.
Alabama man.
Look, I love anime, but I'm so far out of touch with what's popular now. I'm like a grandpa at this point.
That's right. We go to cons and we're like, yo, what in hell is all this? All this pink hair and bubbly. Okay. So didn't get much on the Marvels. We just got a little more, just kind of teased information, but really didn't get a trailer or anything on it. We just kind of know what's coming on that. Not much to talk about that. Echo as well. Mm-hmm. We know that's a TV show, or it's a Disney Plus show. Echo's gone through, I want to talk about that a little bit. Echo's gone through some transformations in the comic books. She actually achieved the mantle of Iron Fist for a minute. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
She also has been possessed by the Phoenix, the Jean Grey Phoenix. So Echo is kind of a big deal in the comic books. So I don't know what they're going to do. If it's going to be, I think it's mostly going to be the street level character comics, but the freaking sky's the limit on that character. They put her through some shit, son.
She was a Ronin for a while as well, wasn't she? At some point,
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think she was. So yeah, interesting character. So watch that show because I have her first appearance and I want that comic book to go.
But no, we don't have ulterior motives or anything at all. All right. Try to cover that.
All right. Not much about Cap New World Order other than that they said we're going to get the new Falcon, the Martinez guy Falcon, the young Falcon, which obviously is going to move into that Young Avengers kind of thing. I missed something. There's something else about
the leader is going to be
the leaders in it. Yeah, so
we've got that news.
Which we're thinking that they're putting the foundations of that in She-Hulk right now, but don't really know. It's just,
and they're bringing back the same actor who played him in the Edward Norton Hulk movie, which I think is kind of cool.
It's completely cool. It's completely cool. Yeah. So, let's see. Okay. The Secret Invasion trailer. We did get a trailer for that.
We did, and it looks fucking great.
It looks fantastic. Emilia Clarke, we got a quick flash of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope she is who we think she is, which is the Skrull Queen, which is, I think we covered this on a past show. But Secret Invasion is one of my favorite comic series in the past 2 decades. I mean, I enjoyed the hell out of it. But I'm excited about it. Any thoughts?
I think it's interesting. It reminds me a lot of Winter Soldier, Captain America, because it goes back to that kind of spy movie feel to it. You can't trust anybody. Anybody can be anyone, literally now with the Skrulls. Samuel L. Jackson trusting no one and nobody as the main character, which that's what it seems to be. And I think it's going to be great because it's going to be Nick Fury at his most Nick Furious, like under the shadows, trying to keep everything close to the vest, trusting no one but himself. And that scene, I think it was one of the Skrulls was talking to someone, their bodyguards all around, and they all transformed to the same guy that he's talking to. And you realize, like, oh, shit.
Right. And some of the Skrulls that Nick Fury's familiar with and friends with also seemed like they were on the other side of this situation as well. So, which checks out because the Secret Invasion comic book briefly was an extremist version of the Skrulls and their religion. They believed that their God had given them the rights to Earth and that they were to come to take what's due to them, which was take the Earth. But they're extremists. So the regular Skrulls actually weren't fans of these guys because they were the crazy religious zealots. So I'm excited about it. I hope, with Marvel, you never know which way they're going to take it, but
I'm happy just to see Samuel L. Jackson back for not just 30 seconds of screen time.
Yeah,
I love him as Nick Fury.
It's almost like it's his show.
Yeah, it does. It seems like it's a Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson show, and that's great. Yeah. It's wonderful.
Right on. Other than that, we did get official notice that the new Daredevil show, Born Again, is that what it's called?
Yes, Born Again.
Born Again is not a continuation of the Netflix show. It's been made clear, even though it's the same actor and the suit looks, it's going to look the same. It's going to be one of those don't ask, don't tell kind of things.
Yeah, and that's
like
fine.
Maybe that's an origin story. Maybe it's not. We're just going to pick up where Daredevil is there, and
I think from what we've seen of him in She-Hulk, we're not going to get an origin story. I think we're just going to get him already armored up Daredevil.
And that's fine because we don't need it.
No,
we don't need it. We've seen it just like if you make a Spider-Man movie, we do not need to see Uncle Ben get fucking
No.
shot again.
No.
So we don't need to see Bruce Wayne's parents killed again. We
No.
don't need it again. We've got it. Just establish the character. He's there. Move along.
Everybody knows these things, even people who've never read comics. It's in like the general zeitgeist of the world. We know how these characters were created.
Right.
We don't need it anymore.
Nope.
But one thing I would like to say is that Jessica Jones was supposed to be in the Daredevil Born Again show, and she had to back out because she had another commitment. So they're bringing John Barenthal as Punisher to replace her. And I'm sure some rewrites had to be made, to fit his character in there. Right. But we're getting the Punisher in the Daredevil show.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, I believe it's confirmed.
Well,
because Jessica Jones, Jessica Ritter, she is doing another, speaking of She-Hulk, Tatiana Maslany did a show called Orphan Black, and apparently they're doing more of it, and Jessica Ritter is in that, which I love. Orphan Black, great show, check it out. I am bummed, though, that Jessica Jones isn't going to be a Daredevil because their chemistry is wonderful from the Defenders. John Barenthal is also great with Charlie Cox, but there's just Jessica Jones is my favorite street level character. Period.
Right on.
So yeah,
some disappointment, but also some excitement there.
Yeah, we know we're getting the Punisher now. Just like we knew we were getting Jessica Jones. So I think it's really good that these are confirmed things. These characters have not been recast, and they're coming back into the MCU.
Right on.
Yeah, so I love that.
Before we jump there, I want to jump to this one first, if we may. Big rumor about the new X-Men cast. And we know it's a few years out because we're not getting that yet, even though there's little mentions of mutants and things. So they're planting the seeds and putting the roots down. But the big rumor, and this makes me happy. And have you read The Astonishing X-Men? Joss Whedon's run on the X-Men?
Yes. It's been a long time. I remember it.
Well, revisit it because it holds up.
But
the rumor is that the X-Men reboot or the X-Men start is going to be based off Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men run. Regardless of how you feel about Joss Whedon, I don't want to fucking hear it because he did some cool shit before all this stupid shit happened. And one of the coolest things he did, probably my favorite, with his Hickman's early run on the X-Men comic book, Joss Whedon did some cool ass things in X-Men comics. And so the idea is that the rumors that it's based off his run of the comic books, which is cool because it kind of makes Kitty Pryde the centric character. It's from her point of view. Big fan of that character.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
She's been through so much. That is one of the most underappreciated characters. I mean, she was kidnapped and brainwashed and trained by Ogun, the same guy who trained Wolverine. She was a ninja assassin. I mean, that's how she got the name Shadowcat. I mean, that is a complicated character, and she is a badass. She is a complete badass. Well, that comic book sets up or starts with Kitty Pryde is already an adult. She comes back to the school to be a teacher. And you've already got the love triangle with Wolverine and Jean and Cyclops and all that shit we've already been through. And we revisit the legacy virus shit. It's just, anyway, long story short, that's a comic book worth your time. John Cassidy kills it in the artwork department. Some of the best damn artwork you've ever seen. Check that out. That Astonishing X-Men run by Joss Whedon.
They, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, it leaned more heavily on the school as a school than, them all fighting threats and things like that. It actually, focused more on the academy than it did a lot of other things. Like they came in, but
yes and no. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I mean, one of the coolest parts of that arc was the Danger Room became self-aware.
Yeah, I remember that.
The AI actually developed a physical body, and they had to battle that, and it was, oh god, it was profound, and it was just it was so good. It was so damn good. So damn, I'm gonna reread that this week.
Yeah, I've been looking for something to read right now. None of my stuff's coming out in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, thank you. I'll be doing that.
Hell yeah. So I'm excited to hear that news because I think that is a story worth telling again.
Yeah. Well, if that's what they do, I'm in 100%. We still haven't gotten any casting news on the X-Men though, have we?
Nope.
Okay, that's a shame.
Right. So,
ready
to move on?
Yeah. Let's move on to things that kind of don't have anything to do with DC or Marvel, but are still nerd things as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That is kind of one of Ken's mind. there is going to be a new series of Interview with a Vampire.
Right.
And if none of you ever heard it, it's a Anne Rice book series, was made famous in the 1990s as a movie with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise and, oh God, the younger Kirsten Dunst as like a child.
That is where she got her start, and she rocketed to stardom after that role.
Yeah.
Which that for me, that movie still holds up.
It's a good movie. I don't have a problem
good.
with it. Yeah, no, it's great.
Still so good. It's gonna be hard for me to see Lestat as anybody else but Tom Cruise.
I don't know. I think we've had one trailer for it, and you know, trailers aren't always good at showing how characters interact and how they work. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. But it's one of those old school books. I'm not old school. No, I am old school at this point now. That you know, that I always loved, and I read pretty much most of the series.
I think we all did back in the day. That was very important to late 90s culture, was the Anne Rice Vampire Chronicle novels.
Yeah.
I read tons of them too. So I'm hoping this is a start of something else.
Yeah.
I mean, we could move on into the other Vampire Chronicles.
I mean, God,
awesome.
She wrote so many books. She's a prolific writer. You know, check her out if you never heard of her. There's plenty of stuff out there. And it's going to be on AMC. So they're going to kind of give them a lot of leeway. We've seen with AMC shows, Breaking Bad and Walking Dead, that, you know, they kind of pull the gloves off. Like, you want to do your show, do your show.
Right. So I'm going to see some cool shit, I think. Yeah. So I'm excited about it. It looks so different. And, you know, the part of me that wants to hold on to the past is like, it's a little strange, but I'm going to give it every chance. I'm going to give it every shot.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be there day one. No worries about that.
Same. We'll watch it together, brother.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm going to let you handle the next one.
Okay. So, I have said this many times on this show. The Keanu Reeves, John Constantine movie is not a Constantine movie. It's a really good movie.
It's a cool ass movie.
It is. And I really enjoy it. And I own it. I watch it regularly. But it's not a Constantine movie. And I don't have a problem with that at all, really. You know, it was I think it was late 90s, early 2000s. You know, they hadn't really figured out how to do comic books yet. And so they kind of made this bastardized John Constantine. Well, Keanu Reeves is coming back to make a second Constantine movie. And I'm excited for it, you know, because it doesn't bother me anymore. You know, in the beginning, I was like, oh, this fucking sucks. But now I've come to terms with it. I'm just kind of like, you know, the first one was a whole lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I hope they do the same again and just make it another one, you know.
That's right. It was nothing like the character, the Cockney English guy that was kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
It was like, it was not the spirit of the character at all. It's still a cool ass movie, though.
You know what's funny, actually, is I saw this clip a long time ago before this got started. Keanu Reeves was on Stephen Colbert when he was promoting the third John Wick movie.
Second time Stephen Colbert's come up in this show.
He comes up. Dude, he's one of us. But he asked Keanu Reeves, he's like, is there one movie that you would like to do a sequel to that nobody's asked you about, nobody's even talking about it, but what would you like to do? And kind of, you know, he's laughing, you know, because he was doing the trilogy of John Wick and coming out. And he's like, you know, that's a really hard question, but I'll tell you, I would love to do another Constantine movie. And Stephen Colbert goes, 6 months, somebody's going to call you and ask you to do another Constantine movie. 9 months later, that motherfucker got the call and it started up.
No way.
Yes, 100%.
Wow.
Fucking Keanu Reeves called his shot.
Right.
Got Constantine 2 into the works.
Nice. So, I don't know, have they released a creative team or anything?
No,
like
nothing. We just know Keanu Reeves is signed on, which is enough at this point to get any movie made. Right. I mean, that dude, whatever he touches, is they're going to go with right now.
Yeah. He's like getting Mr. Rogers status as this legend, this wholesome. Just
he is. I mean, because he is. You know,
right.
It's not even like fake or anything. It's amazing.
Right.
It's just like the sweetest guy in the world.
Right on. So, anyway, it's exciting times. There's so much to absorb and watch, and anything. And, I mean, you into anything right now you want to share?
The only thing I'm into right now, I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn a lot, sleeping in Ken's basement a whole lot for the first one to play over here. And what's the truth? I stay up to like 4 a.m. 5 nights a week for a while. I get a little obsessive sometimes. And I got Justin playing the first one, and he went ahead and ordered the second one on GameFly. And so I've been playing the second one at Justin's place, stay up till like 4 in the morning, 5 nights a week in his basement, playing it over there. And it's just, honest to God, it's a wonderful game. The controls, the gameplay is amazing. It's a ridiculously over-the-top storyline. It's post-apocalyptic. You hunt mechanical robots with a bow and arrow, and yeah, it's as amazing as that sounds. It's great. It's a good way to kill like 6 hours, and you look up and you're like, oh, I didn't eat today.
Wow, right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
What about you, Ken? You eat anything?
I mean, some things here and there. I mean, I just finished Cobra Kai.
Oh, nice.
I finished
New season?
Yeah, I just finished the new season, and it's the same shit. It's guilty pleasure for me. I mean, there's nothing special about this show other than the fact that it's just, if guilty pleasure had a definition, it is this show. It's ridiculous and it's awesome. It's the same shit. It's like there's a scene in the finale where Johnny Lawrence is in a bar and they had White Claw, and he's like, "Oh, that sounds badass. Give me one of those." And then he drank it. And he's like, "Tastes like watermelon. Took a piss." Anyway, just if you get the Johnny, I didn't have to share that, but the Johnny Lawrence,
that's a good line, though.
I mean,
Johnny Lawrence.
Yeah, but if you get that character, you get that line, so it's still worth your time. It's still ridiculous, and it's just fun. You know, other than that, I'm into my toys. I mean, I build dioramas of Ninja Turtles and other things. So just life. Just life, moving on, rocking on.
Well, it's good to hear. Well, as we always say at the end of the show,
it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be a nerd. It is true, though. I mean, because we are in a nerd renaissance. I mean, 100 years from now, they're going to look back on this time as being some kind of character-driven, not just superheroes, just character work-driven entertainment time. I don't know how to articulate what I'm trying to say, but we are living in the middle of it now because there's so much coming at you at all times.
Yeah. And since Justin's not here, I'll go ahead and say it. Excelsior. You guys have a good night.
Good week. Stay safe.
Complete nerve authority.